the city of Wichita working on changes to its code of ethics. This after the city ethics board received 25 complaints in September of 2024.
Brock Wilson is outside of City Hall to explain the changes and dig into why the city believes that they're necessary.
The city of Wichita goes through and updates its ethics code every few years, and this is no different. One city council member says it's all about making sure elected leaders are held to a higher standard.
I believe that this ethics policy and the changes of strengthening the ethics policy do just that.
Wichita Vice Mayor Dalton Glasscock says the city ethics board has been looking at changes to the ethics code for several months.
Figure out how to strengthen the policy and also how to offer some clarifying points to it.
He tells me ethics policy has been violated 3 times since 2021, and these clarifications should help prevent them in the future.
And making sure that we're responsive to those that elect us.
Here's a look at some of the proposed changes. Elected leaders would be prohibited from retaliating against a person for filing an ethics complaint and interfering with personnel policies. They would also be prohibited from committing crimes that reflect adversely on their honesty, trustworthiness, or abilities. Wichita Ethics Officer Kathy Sexton says the Ethics Board believes those sections of the code were written too generally.
Just needed to be clarified a little bit, give a little more clear direction to the board so it's able to make good decisions.
The board wants some older phrasing updated to be more modern.
The current code has moral turpitude as a phrase. Today, a lot of people don't know what that means.
The code would also make sure complaints are posted on the city website. All of this, Councilman Glasscock says, to make sure people in his position are held to a different standard.
And if they don't believe they're meeting those standards, there's a process to go through and filing an ethics complaint to hold us accountable.
The Wichita City Council will vote on these changes Tuesday morning. That meeting starts at 9 o'clock. In Wichita, Brock Wilson, 12 News.